All right. I like your topic. Do you like your topic? Have you found some interesting things about it? Conspiracy theories? Yes. And then Area 51 is special interest. When you present to the group, the kids in the class will be really excited about that too. They like hearing more about it. So I found this video, which is 3 minutes. And what I liked about this one is, as far as presenting to the class, this one keeps it short and concise. So we want to look at, how do you give both sides to the argument, where the conspiracy theory originated, and then what is the truth, what's people's misconceptions as far as the counterargument goes. And then by the end today, we need to have a clear thesis for you, what you're going to explain as your topic. So here, I'll play it real quick. Fix the volume.
In the early 1950s, U.S. planes were conducting low-flying recon missions over the USSR, but there were constant worries of them being spotted and shut down. So, in 1954, President Eisenhower authorized the development of a top-secret, high-altitude recon aircraft, dubbed Project Aquatabs. The program required a remote location that wasn't easily accessible to civilians or spies. Area 51 fit the bill perfectly. It was in the Nevada desert near a salt flat called Groom Lake. No one knows exactly why it's called Area 51, but one theory suggests it came from its proximity to the Nevada nuclear test sites. The Nevada test site was divided into number-designated areas by the Atomic Energy Commission. The location was already familiar territory for the military, as it had served as a World War II aerial gunnery location. In the summer of 1955, sightings of unidentified flying objects were reported around.
This caused the controversy and
that's because the Air Force
heightened the conspiracy
of the U-2 aircraft. The U-2 can fly higher than 60,000 feet.
I like that image there.
Normal airliners were flying in the 10,000 to 20,000 feet, while military aircraft topped out at around 40,000 feet. So if a pilot spotted the tiny speck that was the U-2 high above it, they would have no idea.
That's the image, I think, is.
And they would usually let air traffic control know someone was out there, which is what led to the increase of UFO sightings in the area. While Air Force officials knew the UFO sightings were U-2 tests, they couldn't really tell the public. So they explained the aircraft sightings by saying they were natural phenomena and high-altitude weather research. The testing of the U-2 ended in the late 1950s, but Area 51 has continued to serve as the testing ground for many aircraft, including the F-117A, the A-12, and the Tacit Blue. No one knows for sure what Area 51 is up to these days. The government never even publicly acknowledged the existence of the base until 2013, with the release of declassified CIA reports. But if you're ever at the Las Vegas airport, keep an eye out for some small, unmarked passenger planes.
I thought that was interesting.
They're how Area 51 employees get to work from their homes in Vegas.
So even more secretive. Right. And the other thing I did here was, as far as kind of the information in a brief way, if I wanted to copy and paste this, they kind of give the connection to the video here too, as far as the encyclopedia article goes. So that's nice. And then it says kind of the summary of the video, which I like that that's there if you wanted to go back to it without having to rewatch the whole video. All right, so our goal here will be fill out the digital graphic organizer. So I shared that so we can all look at that at the same time. And then we also have the research articles, and we want to make sure we have both sides of the argument. So here for topic question, we did, should video games be considered a sport, right? Put that up here. Then we have first to decide what is the topic, Should video games be considered a sport? And then looking at the thesis, do we agree or disagree? So initially, I know how much you like video games. There's a lot of time and investment there, but you decided that your thesis would be better off. Video games should not be considered a sport. Then on the other hand, the two body paragraphs here go directly into reason 1 with the evidence, reason 2 with the evidence. And then this is where I think it takes the most planning, is to decide who are the people that disagree with you? Why do they disagree? So for counter-argument and rebuttal, that would be the opposite. So these are some people who do want to consider video games a sport. And then the most important part of that paragraph is the rebuttal. How can we change their minds? How can we prove that their opinion is not the best? And then conclusion, can just restate thesis, obviously, and then have sum up the main ideas. Restating the thesis is probably the most important part there. So the plan is pretty straightforward there. In addition to organizing it by paragraphs here for the presentation, you will have one slide for each of those parts here. So we said for the template, you'll have a title slide. What are the two sides of the argument? That'll come right from the top box. What does the research suggest? Both for and against, include the counter argument there. Final thoughts, restate the thesis, and no new information on that last slide, and then works cited. So, let's see the next part here. Were you able to bring up your digital copy? Okay, so let's look at the one that says conspiracy theory. Should be blank, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so what we want to do is type in the topic question first. We can use the word mystery. We can use conspiracy in there, either way. And then your side in the argument for your thesis should come from, what does the evidence suggest? You want to go ahead and type your question in there, Kaylin? Well, let's go back to your documentation for the articles here. Let me find it. Where is it? So for this one, you've got there is secrecy behind Area 51, and the question is Area 51 covering up any alien activity? Is that a good way to phrase it? Were aliens sighted at Area 51? Is an even simpler way?
That's what I thought at first.
Yeah. Okay, so when we're finished with that, then we want to know what is the claim or thesis going to be. And again, that's pulling it from the facts. So when we go through the article here, for example, this mentions that they had photographs and they had some suspicions, but they couldn't confirm. In the video, of course, we know that it said it was top secret. So the government didn't want to leak these answers out. Well, mystery just broods conspiracy, as they say. And then, like you said here, this video helps support your overall conclusion about the conspiracy. So how can we phrase this as a sentence giving your side in the argument? Okay, well, let's leave that part blank for now. What we'll do is we'll look at the thesis is opposite of the counter argument. So the information, for example, if we go back to the video games, we said video games should not be considered a sport. That was the thesis, so that was the claim. All the evidence pointed to that, even though maybe we were hoping that there'd be some research out there the other way. On the opposite side, we have counter argument. People who disagree believed that video games should be considered a sport. So I think one way to look at it is, were there aliens at Area 51? If you phrase it like a question, then you're either saying yes, they are, or no, they are not. What do you think?
No.
Okay, so then we have one word. The directions say we just need to restate that as a sentence. Right? And then from there, we need to decide 2 reasons, the most convincing reasons why there were no aliens at Area 51 from the article. And the last thing we'll probably want to do is the rebuttal. And we said the keywords we can leave out for thesis statement. I believe, just stated as a claim. And then let's talk about the research for reasons 1 and reasons 2. Do we have enough research showing that there were not aliens? I know one is using the classified information that they were keeping top secret. Is there something else we can use to support that? What about testimony? Possibly, where I saw it was talking about he took pictures and they interviewed him, and then they explained why that was really a misunderstanding. I would say testimony is good, sound research as far as an interview goes. That could even be a primary source. I'm gonna write that down. What do you think is most convincing about there not being aliens, Caleb? Oh, click on the lights. Thank you. It could even be from the video source. It could be. Go ahead, sir.
Probably the fact that they never actually acknowledged Area 51's existence.
The top secret part of it? Okay. Well, from that, for paragraph 2, you could talk about what information was hidden. Instead of focusing on a testimony, you could talk about hidden information. For example, specifically the airplanes and the testing of the airplanes as far as how many feet up in the air. That's pretty convincing. We could even screenshot that image from the video and paste it on
Mhm.
or recreate it either way. So the image might be another source that we want to, or not source, but another piece of evidence that we want to have. Okay, and then the last part will be counter argument. Who are the people that say yes, or you might even say we're suspecting that yes, they're aliens, and then offer our rebuttal. And sometimes that is just restating, as we pointed out before, the research does not confirm, or you might even say debunked. We use that word a lot for conspiracy theory. So looking on your documentation that you gathered, which video source is this one that's on? I just can't remember off the top of my head. You have two?
I think
No.
That's different. We've seen that one though.
Okay.
I might have.
So I think this, it looks like from the summary there that might be helpful as far as he mentions the word fascination. And that to me shows the counter argument, possibly why were people originally so fascinated with the idea, or what originated and kind of has helped perpetuate this idea. But you don't have to use that video source. And I haven't watched that one, but where it says haunts America, that to me means it keeps people kind of speculating and wondering about what's out there. Yeah, counter argument. So on this document, your digital copy here, is there any questions that you have about getting that filled out or your plan? You've started the top part there. We talked about 2 possible sources for the reasons. We talked about a possible source for counterargument. And then, like I said, with rebuttal, I'm just going to say this again. It doesn't have to be a whole new piece of information. I had people asking me about that earlier today. It doesn't have to be another fact. It might be restating and reminding them from your research how the counterargument has been debunked, or as we said, offer the rebuttal as how this conspiracy has been debunked. It can be restating something that we've already said. It doesn't have to be new. Yeah, it doesn't have to be new. What do you think, Caleb? Is there anything on there that you have questions about? It's going to take some time, right, to get it all typed in there, but
They say I have too many questions.
you don't have any questions. Good. That's a good plan. Do you have enough research?
I think I'll have enough.
Okay. And I can add this citation from the video that I showed. I can paste it at the bottom down there. And if you want to go back to anything that was like the image as far as a primary source, or the data about how high the airplanes are flying, I can definitely paste that in there, and we'll have that as an option too. So you have enough research. Any questions on how this will transfer to your final draft? It's a good plan if we get all of this figured out first. It's kind of like taking baby steps, working towards the final product. What do you think about presenting to the group? We still got a little ways to go for that, but any thoughts on your presentation?
No.
Are you good at Google Slides? You're pretty good at technology in general. You're pretty good with that one.
At times.
Yeah, that'll be good.
We've done this before.
Yeah. We'll have to see if anybody else in the class is doing your same topic. I usually try to have them kind of discuss too. In that way, if they want to go on the same day, they can kind of piggyback off each other. But I don't know in that group if anybody else is doing Area 51. So, all right, I think that's all I have. And we can meet in basic skills tomorrow. We can meet on Wednesday, either one.